As you probably know, I need another first generation Mustang like I need a hole in my head. But this 65 was just too good to pass up. There might just be one little problem with it. This car does not run. This car does not drive. This car does not stop. This car does not have paint on its fender. This car does not have an interior installed. And we're gonna fix all of these problems today. Literally today. Literally in 10 hours, I'm gonna try and fix all of these problems today. Now I have been collecting parts for this project for quite some time, and I do have a plan. Now before I tell you that plan, let's walk around this thing and I'll show it to you in its current state. This is a factory V8 car with air conditioning. It is, sadly, an automatic. It has new floor pans, and I think it's just begging to be brought back to life. Yes, it is a little bit crusty, but you guys know that has never stopped me before. My plan consists of this. I have needs and I have wants. I hope to accomplish all of this today, but at the bare minimum, we need to do this. First things first, we have to get this car running and driving. After that, we have to make it stop. After that, I need to put the entire interior together, and of course, I gotta fix the horribly mismatched fender. I would really like to slam this car on its nuts as well and install new wheels and make it sound good and fix the other paint problems, but we'll see if we can get to that, because we literally have 9 hours. So enough yapping, let's get to work! First thing I have to do is make this thing run, and I know exactly how to do it. When I bought this car, it was running out of a gas can, and I've heard it start up one time. The problem is, when the person installed the floor pan, they cut the fuel line, so this car has basically no fuel system. It does have a new tank though. All we gotta do is hook it up. Now what we're looking at is a cut fuel line and a cut brake line. I'm well aware the brakes are gonna need much more work than just one line patched, but the fuel line is pretty easy. I'm gonna patch the fuel system the wrong way, but the right way. Basically just gonna use rubber fuel hose, connect it where there is a gap, and then I'm gonna tie it up out of the way using these. All right, this is not flawless, but it's not gonna hit anything and it's not gonna leak. So now what I'm gonna do is disconnect the fuel line at the tank and blow air through the whole thing, get any dirt out. In doing that just now, I realized this rear fuel line has a hole in it, so I'm gonna bend up a new one. This is snowballing to me, just pulling out and replacing this entire section of fuel line. I got an entire roll of fuel line, and I'm just replacing basically the whole fuel line up to where it was cut off. No, I'm not running it in the stock way. I think my way is better. And about an hour later, sadly, we can connect the fuel line. Because I'm out here replacing fuel lines, may as well replace all of them. Can't forget the fuel filter. And we are done. But this entire fuel system is bone dry, including the fuel tank, so it's gonna take forever to get gas up to this carburetor. I'm probably gonna dump some gas straight in the carb, get this thing to light off, and hopefully it'll pump some gas up after a minute. Okay, I've put like 3 or 4 gallons of gas in the tank. Got a little gas in the Gatorade bottle here. Let's make sure it cranks first. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. She's gonna fire right up. I don't know if it counts as cheating or not, but I have heard the car run briefly, so I kind of know it will run. It also might not, so hopefully gas will pump up into this fuel filter and into the carburetor. Dude, fired right up. Give it a little extra. She's running! Why is it running really good already? What? Dude, we got a runner. Okay, one thing checked off the list. Honestly, I kind of expected it to fire up like that, but now the real challenge of the day is brakes. This car, similar to 8-Ball, has a single pot master cylinder in it, which is visibly rusted out. Speaking of things that are rusted out, the entire rear brake line is rusted out, including the rubber line and T that go on the rear axle. So all of that is shot, which probably includes the wheel cylinders, and I'm basically gonna have to rebuild the back half of the brake system. I'm not excited to do that today, let alone as fast as I possibly can. Thankfully though, there was a dual bowl master cylinder in the trunk, which I actually didn't know about until an hour ago. So, I will be installing it. What I'm gonna do now is bench bleed the master cylinder, basically run each line into its respective reservoir, and I will repeatedly compress the master cylinder with the screwdriver as if it's in the car being pushed by the pedal. And then come check this out, watch. When I do that, it's gonna push out all those air bubbles, suck fluid back in, and we'll do this until it no longer pushes out air bubbles. When that's done, you know there's no more air in the master cylinder. If I were to just toss this on out of the box, you'd have no brakes. Now I will try to remove the brake lines from this stock master cylinder. Attempt 1. That wasn't cool, but thankfully that was just an adapter, and it is strangely loose. So I take that adapter off. The brake line itself is fine. I just broke an adapter. Now, is the brake line frozen? Another good question. Yes. This line that goes from the master cylinder to the distribution block, I'm gonna have to make a new one because the fitting is frozen. I also know that this line right here that goes to the rear is rotted out, and I'm gonna make an entire new one, so I'm gonna pop it out. Please don't strip. Okay. It broke loose. Wow, that almost did not. That could have been bad. I'm gonna pop out the master cylinder. I'm glad I didn't try to use it. I can remove the rear brake line that was cut with the floor pan, because I gotta make a new one. Distribution block hole plugged. I can put this new master cylinder in, just feel like I accomplished something. The first brake line I have to make goes from the back bowl of the master cylinder to the front of the distribution block, because that controls the front brakes. So I have these two fittings that I know fit on either end. I just gotta make a line. Whew. That's a pretty good looking flare. Getting good at this. I have basically eyeball bent this, and I have no idea if it'll fit, but I hope it does. There should be an eyeball competition, because I'm pretty damn good. All right, one brake line done. I'm now loosely running the rear brake line, and you may notice, you could call it genius or you could call it lazy. It's probably lazy. I'm running this brake line right along my custom fuel line, which is also not in the factory location. But that's fine, because I don't care. It is almost 2 o'clock, and I am still working on the brakes. If I had had any forethought, I would have actually looked at this car closely to realize the amount of work it needs to be roadworthy. I probably wouldn't have filmed this entire video, but it's Tom's refurb, so we're gonna get done everything we can. I still think we can have a running driving car with a full interior by the end of the day, AKA 7 p.m. So now, I'm gonna eat pizza. As you guys can see, this rubber soft line that goes from the brake line to the axle is completely toast, and I have a new one arriving at the local parts store in like an hour. So I'm gonna pause on the rear brake line creation and move on to the wheel cylinders, because I can pretty much guarantee both bleeders are gonna be stuck, and I have to replace this brake line anyways, so may as well just replace both of them. I found two on the shelf. Let's do it. This really cool, fun idea I originally had to like stance this Mustang is just turning into me doing an extended brake job. Something that I wish I had thought about and looked at before filming. But here we are. Definitely what wrong? Too much pizza. Too much pizza. Ow, 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 ow. Too much pizza. Stop filming. Stop the video. Bye guys, thanks for watching. Sorry I didn't get anything done. I ate too much pizza. We now have a new driver's side rear axle brake line. Best tool to use for drum brakes, needle nose vice grips. Allows you to clamp on the spring pretty easily, and these are the most annoying part of changing wheel cylinders. One spring. You know, come to think of it, I probably didn't have to replace this wheel cylinder because it looked kind of good and the brake line came right out of it. But I'm having that thought right now. So we're replacing it. Another fail. For some reason, one of the wheel cylinders I had on the shelf is right and this one, this side, is wrong. So I'm gonna put the old one back in. I've wasted 10 minutes yet again. I'm just gonna cross my fingers that this wheel cylinder doesn't leak. Hopefully, this side works. Perfect! Perfect, perfect! Installing the rear brake line to the master cylinder. Okay, I have, of course, because things going right would be too easy, over tightened that and broke it. Don't use copper brake lines. And if you are gonna use them, don't over tighten them like I do. I think the easiest solution is to pull the whole brake line. If this video is a lesson to anybody, don't use these stupid copper brake lines. That's totally not just me saying that because I'm frustrated and inexperienced with the material. I just think it's dumb. And I should be able to tighten it as tight as I can. Because we had to pull the whole brake line, it's honestly fine because I'm able to flare and add a fitting to the rear side of it anyways. It's no biggie. Hopefully, it doesn't break this time. Thankfully, the new brake line T is here. It is 3:15 p.m. I have to say, I'm disgusted by the fact that I've been doing brakes almost this whole time. I can put this brake line in now.
Now I can tighten up the rubber to hard line union.
And brake lines should all be installed, minus them being tied up. But now I want to bleed it and make sure there are no leaks and I don't break the bleeders on the front cylinders, which I think is gonna happen. Really hoping it doesn't, but I think it's probably gonna happen. So let's get to bleeding. Let's start with the one that I know won't break. Down, up, down, up. The rear brakes bled just fine and there are no leaks in our connections. Now we have to move on to the front, which I'm really worried about because look at this. The bleeder valve is a 5/16 and it, for all I know, is factory because it is very rusty. And I'm gonna try and break it loose. Yes! Oh no. Oh. Down. Yeah, the brakes kind of work. What if I stopped working on the brakes? Huh? Before you say, Tom, your brake line job is unprofessional, unoriginal, and rushed. I know. I did not plan to do any brake lines today. So this is the best we're gonna get. Okay, we have solid lines, we have new parts, and it appears it's gonna stop. This thing was very low on transmission fluid, so let's add some, and we'll see if the wheels spin. It has some brakes, sort of. Let's see if the wheels spin. There's reverse. We got forward. I forgot that it was on the lift and I just jammed it into park while the wheels were spinning. Damn, Tom, you are stupid! Okay, it shifted. I've decided I want to see if the car will drive and shift. Cameraman, do you want to see? What if I call this finished interior? What if I did not put the carpet in? Because the carpet is gonna take a really long time. And I have more fun ideas. What if by interior I just meant let me rip out the headliner? What if that's what I meant by interior? What if that's all I did, huh? What if for silly giggles and for ha-has we went as saw if this car drove fine. Come on. Long story short, we got it up the hill. Might be mostly rear brakes, but she stops. Oh, that's a win. That's a win. It really stinks in here though. I'm not gonna drive it far because it is kind of almost overheating already, but we gotta see what it's gonna do. And it stops. I say it runs. Definitely runs. Wait, I bet I could drift it now. Oh god. It is officially overheating.
A few moments later.
Done. Oh, done. Cameraman bikini pics.
I wasn't on there before.
Now that we've made it run, drive, and stop, which sadly took almost all day, it is 5 o'clock and we only have 2 more hours until we're technically done. So, what if I just considered the interior assembled? We just have crossed that out because it has seats and it has one window that works. I want to skip right to the fun things because we have 2 hours left. I don't even know if we're gonna get it all done, but we better, okay? I want to slam it! The whole reason I wanted to work on this car was to put a 65 Mustang so far on the ground, it just looks crazy. And we gotta do that, and we do not really have the time to do it, but we're gonna get it done. Take the wheels off. I'm going to pull out the shock absorbers, and honestly, I might not put them back in. You see these super rusty things right here? They're spring covers. So I'm gonna take them out so we can better access the springs. That's out of the way. We are now going to play an incredibly dangerous game because I don't feel like using the spring compressor. Dangerous game called Big Black Pry Bar. I'm going to pry the springs out and they are probably going to, boom, shoot out at 1,000 miles an hour. And that's just part of the experience. If you're watching this at home, don't ever do this. And normally I'm joking about that, but you probably really shouldn't do this. What I'm gonna do is basically get this up in here. This is a very stupid, bad thing. Oh yeah, yikes. I figured out the cheat code. Get it to the side. All right, watch out, cameraman. Uh-huh, that's how you remove a spring without no stupid ass spring compressor. Boom! You do not want to be standing in front of that. If you guys wonder why you never want to be in the way of a spring when it's doing something like that. Now before I go slicing away these springs, let me send some knowledge your way. I have a plan. Now I know that this Mustang squats a little bit, as most of these do with sagged out leaf springs. I plan on dropping the rear end 4 inches. Now I'm gonna guess there's at least an inch where the front is taller than the rear. So I wanna lower the front end 5 inches. How do you calculate that, Tom? Well, the going rate on these coil springs is 1 full coil. That means from here to here, sliced off right there, is 1.5 inches. So 5 divided by 1.5. Basically, I'm gonna cut off 3 coils, that's 4.5 inches, and hopefully, that is close. If not, I'm not gonna put the shocks in, so we can always just pop the wheels off and cut another coil. But this is a lot. Bye-bye. Now that we took care of that, let's drop the rear. Now I'm going to cut off the U-bolts that hold the axle to the leaf springs. I'm doing that because they are so rusty, I'm not even gonna try hitting them with the impact. Don't even feel like it. Now I can lower the lift down and let the rear rise off of the leaf springs. Yeah. Just like that. I lied. These are 3-inch drop blocks. I ordered 4-inch, but thanks Amazon, didn't get them here on time. So I guess we're dropping the rear 3 inches. Hopefully it sits level. Boop. 1, boop, 2. As you guys saw about a minute ago, we sliced off the old U-bolts because they were rusty. And the problem with installing drop blocks is you need longer U-bolts, obviously, to take up that space. The real problem here is on these 65 Mustangs, the axle tube diameter is 2¼ inches, and it is impossible to find a U-bolt that is both long and skinny, unless you find a local shop that can custom bend U-bolts, which I did. That. It's like Ford made them. I gotta say, I'm pretty bummed I don't have the 4-inch drop blocks because I really want this thing low, but we'll work with what we got. What? You thought I was gonna leave the fender rusty? Nah. Quick prep spray. You are now looking at my extremely minimal effort tape job, meaning no tape. I have microfibers covering that trim. I'm gonna use this cardboard over some sensitive areas. I'm first gonna hit this with sealer to seal in the surface rust, and I'm just gonna hit it with some spray paint that is supposed to match this blue. Now I will spray on the Caspian Blue Metallic that I got off eBay. And if you've followed me for a while, you know eBay spray paint is a hit or miss. But I'm just really hoping this is a hit. Now for coat number 2. Seems like a lighter blue. Before I put my cool choice wheels on, I'm gonna do a quick brake job. Now my cool wheels of choice are gonna be surprising to you. I normally toss on big old donk wheels or torque thrust or Kragers or something like that on my cars, but I saw these on Marketplace and I just thought they'd be perfect. These are factory slot mags off of a Ford Maverick. They're in like perfect shape. They're 14-inch and they have the raised white letter tires. I think they're gonna look badass on this car. Ooh. And I do believe I would be right about that. Tom, you never put shocks back in the car. I don't want the shocks to keep it from sitting low, so it's okay. Last wheel. I say we drop it down on the ground, see how it looks. Now I do have a pretty decent fear that I cut way too much off the front springs and it's gonna have a serious rake now. But nevertheless, after a hard day's work, I'm just watching cameraman's face. Can I look at it yet?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, uh-oh. It's still on the lift. That looks pretty tough. I wanted the rear lower. Kinda bummed about that. That looks pretty cool. I can already see that the car is undrivable right now. I think my hypothesis is correct. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's low. That is insanely low. It has a rake. I didn't want a rake. I'll admit it, I can't deal with the rake. Thankfully, I have the old springs out of 8-ball, which are the exact same springs that I can cut 2 coils off of instead of 3, toss in, and it should sit level. Take 2. Would you look at the time? It's about 8:30 p.m. We started this entire project today at 8:30 a.m. And I'm happy to say I got some more things to cross off the list. Besides making it run, drive, stop, half assembling the interior, and painting the fender, we have also slammed it and installed some badass wheels. I am very happy with this. I would have not thought we would have gotten as much done as we did in one day, and yes, it is still definitely a project, one that I might keep working on, or I might just forget about it for multiple months like it was until today. So guys, thanks for watching today, this last minute adventure. Once again, it's Wednesday. If you're watching this video when it goes live, it's now Friday. You do the math. This is last minute. Thanks for being here. I love you guys so much on the best damn automotive content on YouTube. If you want to see more fun little transformations like this, you can go check out the Patreon. If you want some Cool Tom's Refurb merch, you can go check out the merch store and keep your eyes peeled on speediesequipment.com because a restock is coming. I love you guys so much. So much! It makes me crazy! Bye.